Wait a moment and then try again. Okay.
All right. Now it's on.
Now we're on. Look at that. We had an error trying to go live.
We
Now
have we have
we have liftoff.
we have
Uh,
liftoff. Oh, we already got people in there. Okay.
yeah,
I
we
never
got
switch over to comment. It's always on private chat. I never switch over to comments and say, oh, wait a minute, we got people.
we have people that need people. Folks,
Oh,
welcome to Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse. Neither one of us are Barbara Streisand, so we're probably not going to break down into any kind of.
not
We
with
think
this
it is.
mustache.
Oh, geez. Well, I'm not going to say a word. So, in any case, folks, welcome to Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. And with me, 2 Fridays a month. Yes, we're going to do this thing. Look at
This
him.
guy here. This guy right here.
Um,
Right here. Right
Glenn,
here. I'm pointing
Glenn,
to the fan. I'm pointing to him. There we go.
Glenn,
Oh,
how?
I do this. I do this on my
It's Glenn.
YouTube channels all the
All right,
time.
all right, all right. It's Glenn. It's Glenn. It's none other
It's
than.
all right. It's
Oh,
all right.
Sorry.
It's
Oh, no.
nice.
No,
You
none
like
of
you
these
like
hands.
role? I'm gonna do Senor Winston. You like role playing games? Yes, they're nice.
I like OSR. I
Roll,
don't like the new stuff.
roll for initiative. It's all right. It's all right.
All right. It's all right. All right.
It's all
We
right.
let you live now. So,
I just dated myself there, Senor Winston.
well,
Right
it's
now, our
probably,
shoe.
what about lamb
We
chop
got Senor Winston
and
and
lamb
Tipu
chop?
Jiju and
Yeah, who the
Tipu
hell?
Jiju
Yes. Who's the one that
juggling plates.
who's the one that did lamb chop though? The woman that did lamb
Oh,
chop.
Sherry Lewis.
Jerry
Sherry
Lewis. There
Lewis.
we go. All right.
She's
See
dead
that.
now too.
Ah, what the hell is this with all these people not being around?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Anyway,
But
anyway,
by the way, my red wine was aged in bourbon barrels. So
wow. Color me impressed, I
it's
think.
got a slight like a little woody flavor to it. Not that I'm a wine or bourbon
I've
connoisseur,
always
but
wanted a Woody. I never was able to get one.
I'm afraid to ask. And we are not a family show, but that's just one question.
I am dating myself. You know, Woody, the old trucks that had wood panels and everything on them.
Oh,
It's a California. It's a beach thing. So yeah,
you're talking about the station wagons that had like the fake wood panel on the outside,
yeah. Well,
right?
it wasn't fake at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, put the surfboards on the inside and all that. You know.
All right. So, Shadow and Sun, it's a car. All right. So, kind of like um, my Forester just like 40 years ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or 50.
Yeah.
I I
So,
un- I understand.
so you've been busy with your podcasts and stuff, right?
I've been busy with being busy. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been busy with the podcast. We had the gentleman from Emperor's Choice on.
Yes, that was. You know, I'm always kind of just halfway busting your chops over you guys getting the guests and I don't. I'm just kidding around. But that was the first time I really wanted to be on that show just to thank them for all that
Oh,
good stuff.
after the show, and the show ran long. The show was like, I don't know, 2 hours and 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Oh
And then
yeah, we never
after
do
the
that.
show, I hung out with them for like another hour, catching up
Uh-huh.
on stuff, talking about stuff, and they're excited that you, Glenn, are enjoying this as much as you are, and
I
how
just
much
wish
fun.
I could.
Go
I
ahead.
wish I could. I just wish I could read more of it. I've been kind of backed up lately, and I don't mean in the toilet sense. I
I was
mean in
about to
the I
say,
got a lot of stuff
fiber
to
can
do
do wonders, but
sense.
yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I understand it
Um,
completely. Like, I was showing you before the show. Uh, let's see if I can get this to show without. All right, so yes, through sunken
yes. What was
land,
it called again?
through
What's it
sunken
called?
land, through sunken lands. It is the same system as Beyond the Wall, so it's really
Okay.
made to give. It's an OSR system, but it's really made to work off your your PCs and what they want to do, and it really seems like this might be. I was gonna run Crips and things. It might wind up being running this with taking like the Hyperborea adventures that have already been published and kind of
Good idea.
all OSR stuff. You all kind of hack it together. That would be with my old group. So we shall see.
Let's see. We did another Thakos Hammer since we last talked, another episode. And my daily show, Radio Grognard, is still happening. And my eBay store is still out there for I'm selling DVDs and Blu-rays, mostly DVDs. Right. And right now, I just want to tell people it's like less than a day left, maybe 20 hours on one auction that I'm selling all of my Star Wars stuff, all 6 films, because I got that. That's the 6 films on Blu-ray. But I got the prequels and the main trilogy. The main trilogy is in one of those. This was like a Best Buy exclusive when it came out. It was in that the metal tin. So it's kind of rare. But if anybody wants to go there, Glenn Hallstrom on eBay. There, I did my plug. I'm done. If you guys want to run out and try and bid on it, I started at 35. Go ahead. What?
No, I'll tell you. I guess it's not. It's a plug. It isn't a plug. Tenkar's Tavern Gamen. It's Tenkar's Tavern Games in German. But right now there is a Game Master sale in honor of Gary Gygax going on in drive-thru. So
that's right. It's Gygax Day.
Yeah. So Torchlight,
isn't it?
Issues, yes. So issue 0 and 1 and Swords in Wizardry Continue a Light are all 15% off. Listen, if you haven't bought any of the stuff yet, this is a great way to snag it. In the next week or so, we hope to have the new Continue a Light edition out in PDF. It's kind of going to be like a crowd forcing of funnelized editing because we have a good editor. But I've recently read something. I'm not going to name the product. That was a train wreck of editing. And it's because apparently the editor was not an editor. The editor was, I don't know, an app like Grammarly, I guess, based upon what I saw. So we're going to suggest though if you do pick up any of the current stuff, there'll be a discount code going out to all of the tavern's prior purchasers for when the new Continual Light comes out. So you shouldn't feel like buy a Torchlight. Help Glenn. By the way,
help all of us.
Help all of us. And as an aside, because it's important, we have 1,126 subscribers as I logged in tonight. Could have changed, but here's the game plan. Once we hit 1,250, I'm going to give away $250 in drive-through RPG now. Drive-through RPG gift certificates. I always want to see RPG now, but they're gone. But and it's going to be one Wednesday. We're going to give away $100 worth, probably as like 50 and 225 on consecutive Fridays. So we catch both of the Friday live streams. We're going to give away $50 each of those nights, 25 and 25. And then one of the Gamers Health evenings we'll give away probably 25 and 25. Again, as I said before, it's your money. I like to celebrate when we hit milestones. And that's going to be a fun milestone to hit because it means that we're reaching more people. We are reaching more viewers, more listeners. And that is honestly, what more can you ask for? I mean, that's spot on.
I'm putting a link up there to that eBay auction I have going. If you could put that up, I can't do that on my end.
No problem.
You have all the marbles.
I have all the marbles. I've got the marbles. I'm gonna put the marbles in the chat. One puts the marbles in the basket. So this is
Thank you. That's the that's the auction going on for the next 20 hours or so. Anyway, gaming. Yeah.
There's gaming? With this gaming involved in this shit? Since when? Oh, wait, gaming, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I told Eric, I was going to call you Derek. Sorry.
Derek and the Dominoes. All right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I was telling him before the show that I did a riff on his recent tavern chat about gaming in public places, and that is definitely something to think about, especially since it's getting to be con season.
Right, and con season becomes.
You're in a public place. Hey,
you're in a public place now. But by the way, apparently there is a different wrinkle to the current story that's hit the OSR. And which, by the way, folks, I'm going to touch on it as briefly as I can, because I know it gets people's feathers ruffled one way or the other. But Wenger was told by a local friendly local game store, an FLGS, that he was not welcome to run games there, and his child was not going to be sold there because it wasn't family friendly. Okay. Which, again, there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Okay.
And there was apparently a screenshot going back to, I guess, late spring of 2020 from this retail store's social media account saying pretty much F this guy, Wenger, apparently due to his politics as opposed to his material. But he was told he was banned because of his material. Now, not having any inside, I don't have any inside baseball on this, all right? But if I was hypothetically a store owner that wanted to signal to a certain segment of my fan base or my customer base that I'm on your side, I will claim this is for politics. And at the same time, is it so much for politics, or do you think that the material and the individual could be offensive?
I know that's kind of a tough call.
Right. And listen, I don't know. V is saying that it's all politics. My take on it, having, as Glenn has done, we've both run games in public places. Glenn's run them in conventions. Glenn, you were running them at friendly local game stores for a while, right?
I was for a couple of times. I'm run them in libraries. Haven't done anything in bars or restaurants though.
Oh, I would love to do it in my local bar. You can't offend anybody.
Well, you can do it. I mean, but I don't know if they'd let you know. You got to
buy more. You've been here for 5 hours and you've all bought like 2 Cokes and a plate of fries. Buy more.
Yeah, well, you know what? Aside from real public places like libraries and places like that, museums, whatever, you really should patronize the place you play.
I'll patronize you, motherfucker. Sorry.
But you should really, I mean, I bought more dice at my local game store while Gage was playing Pokemon on Saturdays than I ever did anywhere else.
Okay, yeah, well, that's part and parcel. And when you're bringing up the Pokemon players, what age group are you bringing into that location? I mean, generally speaking, yeah. So now, when I played out in Long Island, Tim Connolly had organized a group. We'll probably have Tim on again, probably in the next month or so. Bensterdale, if you don't know, if somehow you've missed Tim. So when we played in the original location of the game store, we had a private room. It was large enough to fit 10 players, and we probably did fit 10 players. And you know what? You throw a couple of bucks into the pile, and you gave that to the game store. $30, $40 for use of the room for 3 hours on one evening. And you almost always bought snacks, you bought a soda, you bought chips. Maybe you bought the 7-setter dice in your last 10 trips because you can always use the dice. And we were playing AD&D /Osric. The store didn't sell it. They sold more modern games, but
Mhm.
and there was gaming in the outer area of the store. When we were gaming back there, did we get a little beyond the pale?
Rowdy.
Rowdy, yeah, rowdy, obnoxious, loud, fucktardish. Yes, yes, we did. Even though we were all theoretically adults, we did. But we were in our own room behind some glass, viewing windows and a closed door. You only opened up to use the bathroom and go out to the toilet. But that was because you had privacy. When the store changed locations and it was a smaller location, and instead of having two private rooms, they only had one. And since we weren't buying 5e, we couldn't even like bribe our way into that room. We lost it, so we had to play in a public space.
Okay.
And that right away we realized didn't fit our group. You had to hold yourselves back. So we held ourselves back, and we did that a couple of sessions, and then we were trying to check out a local library, and that just wound up not being a good fit either. But when you're playing in public, you are representing whatever location you are playing
Mhm.
in, and that's even why. I mean, Glenn, you've seen how I am at conventions. If you see me here, you've seen me at a convention. It's the same person as no show, and I've got a potty mouth. I'm not one of those obnoxious assholes that's cursing at you. I just tend
Mhm.
to use a
Right.
colorful New York NYPD language. Um,
Well,
and that is why when I run a group with at a convention with younger people, I will say, listen, if my language will probably be a little rougher than you might expect, but if it upsets you, let me know and I will do my best to contain it.
right.
But I don't know if you can do that with sexual situations, which I think kind of goes
Mm,
into the Wenger zone of things. And don't get me wrong,
mhm.
some of what Wenger has written, and give the man credit, he's written a lot. Some of his OSR material is some of the best I've ever seen, written, produced. The artwork is amazing. He can certainly, do great work. His current, what's the word? I want to say fascination, but maybe that's not the right word. His current focus, though, is on raunchier stuff. I guess from our generation, that would be like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Porky's type of
Mhm.
humor and situations. Um, I mean, all right, Glenn, this happened to me when I was in college. So it wasn't just high school. So this might actually be something that you can. Did you have anybody in your gaming groups when you GM'd, or even as a player, and you just watched them, where they wanted to role play the encounters with the bar wenches and see if they could get laid?
You know what? I know that's a cliche, but I have never had it happen at a table I've been at.
Okay, I have.
But
And
I believe it happens.
yeah, no, I
Yeah.
haven't. I was like, dude, uh, no, I won't mention my friend's name because we still get together at least once a year. But
Mhm.
I mean, I was like, dude, I am not gonna role play you getting laid. She tells you to go fuck off. All right. Oh, but we're heroes, and I understand it. But that to me was that's the stuff that happens off camera. I'm not role playing it. I'm not dealing with it. It's not part of my gaming environment. Now, for some people, it is. Some people, sexually raunchy stuff is part and parcel with their gaming. But does that necessarily fit a public
Right.
environment? Maybe at a
Right.
bar.
I tend to, as I said on my podcast, PG at best, and if two players want to do something, or a player and NPC, they want to do a romance and stuff. Okay, that's fine. But we are going to cut away if anything starts to happen, and maybe cut to the next morning or something. And that's it. I am not interested in playing this out unless there's some good role playing going on with it. And you can't role play when you're getting the old in and out.
Yeah. I mean, so something like that. So, scenarios like that. Mm-hmm. A game setting that defaults to that, and I believe I'm going to probably butcher this. So, Vanger, if you watch this later or now, I'm going to probably butcher the pronunciation of Chalt, because I don't really know how to pronounce words that have like these random apostrophes in them. But
it took me 20 years to pronounce Odiug.
Oh, well, there you go. All right, so that's not too bad. But it's to me, okay. And now, mind you, I worked retail for 8.5 years before I became a cop. I sold electronics for most of those years, and when I wasn't selling electronics, I was running small departments and dealing with customer service. And customers get upset over minor things that you or I or anybody halfway normal would not get upset over. They will.
Tell me about it.
They will be like, "Oh my god!" And then there are things that you just realize you yourself trying to pick up chicks by being funny and slipping into a Jewish Yiddish accent. Of what you thought an elderly Jewish woman thought I was making fun of her by talking like Jackie Mason. You can slip into this stuff, and those are unforced fouls. I mean, but there are things that you can avoid, and one of those things I would guess, as somebody who has worked retail, if I was working in an environment that had children around, I wouldn't want sexual situations being discussed. I mean, because the kids might not mind. The kids might be like, "Oh my god, he's doing the power boat between the boobies. Oh my god, that's awesome!" But you know what? He goes home and tells mommy's going to come back and raise hell. Oh, I'm going to get your retail license pulled, or I'm going to tell all the other mothers what kind of shit you run, and it doesn't benefit anybody. There are certain things that are best run in a private situation. And again, I'm not saying whether this was driven by politics or content. Likely, it's driven a bit by both. But if somebody doesn't like your politics and your content is going to be even more offensive, and if somebody doesn't like your content and then they find out your politics are offensive, guess what? One just fed the other. So again, I'm not talking about the politics side. I'm just saying, as somebody who managed retail for a number of years and again sold electronics, TV sets, we had to deal with people and make a sale. You learn certain things are offensive. Like, what do people want to hear? They want to hear things are made in the United States. They don't want to hear things are made in Korea or whatever it was back then. That I don't want to hear that. They wanted to hear things were made in the United States, or they were being made in Mexico. TVs were often made in Mexico. They didn't want to hear that. So you kind of avoided bringing it up unless they asked, right? Because you knew it was going to offend your customer. It's the same thing. Like, I got to protect my business, and my business is my reputation. And if a third party's reputation suddenly becomes my reputation,
that's a problem. Well, it's funny thinking about romance and games and stuff like that in sexual situations. I am reminded of Mike Pondsmith's game Teenagers from Outer Space.
I own that.
I used to own that, and he had a good description. He said, sex is not entertaining in a game.
No.
Frustrating that sex is very entertaining in that game, because it's basically, I know you got aliens and stuff like that, but it's basically a teenage, a teenage comedy.
Right.
And you've seen how those go. you know, guys trying to get laid and then they can't, and things interrupt them, and it's funny, and they get their whatever caught in whatever, and go see There's Something About Mary. That'll do. But you know, you get what I'm saying. Yeah, if you
Right.
can pull it off, that's great. You know, that kind of game. But
Right.
on the whole, it's like
It's not easy, and there's a balance between it. Like Shadow, romance has always been a big part of my real life and game life. But you see, what did you just say? How did you term it, Shadow? You termed it romance, right?
yeah,
Romance is different than events portrayed in Porky's or the comedies from the 70s and 80s that were, again, a lot of it was about frustrating the sexual urges of older teens, but it wasn't romance. You can always do romance, right? Because it doesn't require me to talk these sweet nothings into your ear. Romance is about connections between characters, whether they're player PCs or whether they're NPCs. That's emotional connections. That's not the issue here. Okay. How did Venture call it? It wasn't a hex crawl. It was a sex crawl. Listen, it is funny. It can be entertaining. Don't get me wrong. In the right environment, I'm sure it is awesome. But would I run something like that at GaryCon, at Gamehole, at North Texas, ChireCon? Yeah, because you don't want somebody associating that with the venue. All right. What you do in the privacy of your own home, what you do on Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, and I'm going to say with a group that you know, right? You're not going to run Chalt with a pickup group at your friendly local game store. I don't think you are, because it's not material that the majority of gamers are going to sit down and go, "Oh, I feel exactly comfortable dealing with this." But with your established game group, it's the same game group that you'll tell stupid jokes with, or tell the stupid stories, whatever, that you already know how they will react to it. Right? That's because they're your circle of
they're your
friends.
bros.
They're
Yeah,
your
they're your
bros.
buds. They're your homies.
But now there's another layer to this, which I'm not sure it's even been brought up, but I'll throw it out there. It's also something that, again, it might be found offensive because it's dealing with a sexual topic, but by default, this is something that many women, and the women that are in these game stores, are going to be mothers. All right. There are women hovering around the game stores because their child is there gaming and they're
Parents are
playing,
there.
Pokemon or whatever. They're going to be offended by the depiction of women. Okay. Because in Porky's depiction of women was sex objects to be ogled at. And I'm not saying Porky's wasn't entertaining in the time. It certainly was. But I don't think I'd want my 11-year-old niece to hear, let alone see the content of Porky's. That's a huge part of the issue.
Right.
Metaboats.
No, I have not. No, I have not reviewed the Arcanium. I don't think I've ever been able to get a hold of that book.
You know what? I used to have it, and I don't know if I still do. I might have lent it out like 30 years ago.
It's not something I come across all the time. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, no. John Carter and Shadow. John Carter and Conan had tons of it, and two of my biggest influences. And some of those stories were great because of the romantic and emotional ties. But again, Shadow, you're talking romantic and emotional ties. You're not talking sexcapades, right? This is stuff that was usually handled off camera, okay, which is fine. My player in question wanted a bit more than just, he wanted me to play out the, I don't know, the seduction. And it's like, dude, I don't roll that way. I don't play that way. There's a reason why we don't drink at this table, because I
This
probably
could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, this happened. This was sober.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking of other things that happen in a public place, like noise. That was a big one I covered on the podcast. And it works both ways too. You try and keep, if you're in a public place with other tables, especially if you're in a con, you got to keep it down somewhat.
Right.
It's okay for everybody to get enthusiastic, but you got to remember there's other people at other tables playing, and it works both ways too. You try to get a table where it isn't you're not in the loudest part of the room, and just so you can be heard, so the players can be heard. When I ran Gangbusters last year at North Texas, Gage got up and asked one of the tables to keep it down, because it was with Mark Hunt, and there was like 8 people there, and we could barely hear each other. So that's something you got to consider. And like I said, patronizing, and also watch the violence. There's some GMs who like to describe every piece of blood and entrails and broken bones and things like that.
His head comes off squirting blood in all directions.
Exactly.
You vertebrae fall to the ground.
His intestines fall out on the floor. Yeah, that kind of thing. To me, I just say to these guys, look, just say you cut his head off and just leave it at that.
Right. That's all we used to do. But now here's the other thing too. When you're playing in a public place, right? Mm-hmm. This has always been, as a GM, I have always felt this way. If I'm playing in a public place, again, not in a private room in a public place, I'm playing at a public table, you're going to have gawkers come over and watch, and you're going to have somebody come over, and they're going to say, hey, this looks like fun. Can I play? And guess what? Your responsibility as a GM in a public place is not to go, excuse me, kid, listen, you got to bugger off, man. Your response
is Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
kid. Your best Harrison Ford. Kid, you don't want to do this.
You don't want to do this, kid. But if you're either going to say that, or you're going to say, at best, you're like, well, listen, we're already started tonight's session, but we're going to be back again in 2 weeks at 7:00. Why don't you come by then, and you'll roll out a character.
Even better. If you want to get him in, if he wants to play right then, hand him an NPC if you have one.
If you can. But the thing is,
or a henchman or something like that.
My experience is that you got about a 50-50 chance of attracting a train wreck, because
you got to look. We're already rolling dice. You're going to have to roll a little more dice.
No, but when I'm saying a train wreck, you're going to have somebody that's going to tell you how to run your game. That's my experience. But guess what? Oh yeah. Okay, dude, roll. I want to be a halfling magic user. I've got my sword. No, you don't have any of that stuff. And then 10 minutes later, after the game started, I whip out my dude. Where the fuck do you have this from? Well, I had my last character had it. I go, dude, you don't have it now. Yeah. But here's the thing: you're playing in a public place. You have to accommodate, at least initially, these individuals until they prove themselves wrong, because that is the price of playing in a public place. All right. I mean, that you're there, you're using the space of, especially in a retail environment. Maybe less so if it's a library or whatever, but still you should probably. But if you're in a retail environment, you're being humored to allow you to run these games and play these games to drive business for the store owner. They're not doing it so you can get there and I don't know, breathe the air and foul it.
Let me put it this way. I have done and still do karaoke. And we all know, practically all of us know, that the only reason there is karaoke in a bar, a band in a bar, stand up in a bar is to sell drinks. In other words, you're helping that business make money. That's why you're there. It's the same thing with gaming at a game store.
Yeah,
That's all I got to say about that.
It's they're not doing this to listen. Anybody running a game store is already on the cusp of losing money. All right, game stores are often week to week, if not month to month, making sure that they
Brick
can
and
pay their
Yeah,
staff, pay their rent.
got
It's
overhead.
it's often a losing proposition. There's a location near me that I would love to turn into, like, if 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 Tenkar suddenly won, I don't know, win for life, $1,000 a week for the rest of my
You'd
life.
open a tavern.
I would actually like open up like a game. There's one place near me that's like be perfect for a game club. You can have 3 private rooms for people to play, and I wouldn't be looking to make money. I'd have the money, right? I already have my pension and extra money's coming in. So you're just doing this because you want to. But guess what? You're running a game store. You're not doing this because, all right, maybe you want to, but because you need to make money. You need to pay bills. They aren't doing it out of the kindness of their heart to give you a place to play. And I
Right.
think that people forget that.
Woodard, you're absolutely right. In fact, my groups do that. The GM will say, "How do you kill them?" But we try and keep it, colorful, but not gross. Let me put it that way.
There's a little bit of color, but when the color becomes blood red constantly, maybe we're just a little bit too far into
Like
it,
that.
into the weeds. So
We got some really good descriptions of the coup de grace that I remember, and they weren't really gross. They were just like, wow, that's cool. Something you see in a movie.
So, Shadow, when I used to work at a game store, we had to let any paying player join, no exceptions. I sometimes had 20 players at my table. And you know what? I can understand it. And there are different game stores run things differently, right? There are game stores that I know there's one out in Brooklyn, I think, and I haven't been there since shortly after the Gygax magazine premiere release, the Brooklyn Strategy. I believe that they had like you basically bought game space. I think it was, I don't know, it wasn't bad. Maybe it was like 2 hours for $5. So you got table space. You could pull any board game down, or you could pull out an RPG. If you were going to bring your own group, that's fine. But here's the thing, all right? When you run in the privacy of your own home, or you run in the privacy of your own VTT with voice, with people that you know, you also kind of generally know where that line is, right? Where's that offensive line, which I probably shouldn't, unless you're a social deviant, and but then you probably don't have a gaming group. But you're the one going to random groups in public just to get a chance to play. But you generally know where that line is, and you kind of might put your foot over it once in a while, but you don't trample on it.
That's right.
But that line is so much closer to being unoffensive in a public place than anywhere else, because you are public, and the odds are the more people that can view and see and hear what is going on, the more likely somebody's going to be offended. I mean, and then they're not. I'm not gonna say, oh, they're probably just a Karen. You know, all right. I've known 2 women named Karen, and they were both annoying, so maybe that name fits. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a Karen. They could literally be hearing shit that's not part of their experience. They're not experiencing a game, and they're going to be offended by it. And I think that's something that a lot of us, we're so into the game that we're playing that we forget when we're in public places that there are others around us. At North Texas, my favorite games were the ones that were in a huge room, 3 tables. This is great. We can be a bunch of assholes. Worst games, small room, 3 tables. All right, you guys got to kind
Oh,
of be quiet, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I watched Jordan Peterson on YouTube, and he came up with a good point that if you're talking to anybody in a meaningful way, you're going to risk offending somebody.
Yes,
Otherwise, you're not communicating. So, you know, it's just part of the. You got to deal with it. That's all I got to say.
you have to deal with it. How see the issue becomes, and again, listen, if I owned a game store and I was offending people, you know what? Fuck it, it's me, right? It's my
Mm-hmm.
store. You don't like it? Go fucking pound sand. Go fuck yourself. It's my store. I don't give a fuck. That's great. When it's your store and somebody that is not you is offending your customers, then there's an issue, right? Because
Right.
all right, so and again,
Because it's going to come back to you.
right, and here I'm going to be, I'm going to kind of call out the elephant in the room. We are, for the most
Ooh,
part, OSR gamers, right? We play old school Renaissance stuff. When
that's
you
right.
go to a game store, with very few exceptions, first off, most of what you see is Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, right?
Yeah, you sort of live with that.
All right. Then what do you see? You see 5e, right? You see
Yeah.
5e. Do you generally see a lot of OSR material?
Only if you're running it.
Only if you're running it. So now I'm bringing in a group of 8 players. Right? I got a full group. We're gonna take up a table. We're gonna make a lot of noise. And
Have fun.
am I selling any books for you? No, I'm not selling any books for you.
Well, you're selling something for them, though. See,
Uh,
my game store down here, they just want to, you know, sell the latest stuff because they want to make money.
right,
But they never stopped anybody who wanted to play, say, a basic or 1E game or something like that that they don't sell.
right.
They'll let you come in, but we always make sure we buy something.
Well, while the
Um,
guy is saying that, if I run or play at a game store, I make certain to buy something every time I'm there, even if it's a drink, a mini, some
right,
dice, chips. Again,
right.
we did that too. And when we had a private room,
You know
we
what's even
took my room
better?
to the pool.
Yeah, you know what's even better? We've got these family game stores now. They're not really game stores, they're game playing places. We lost a few to COVID, but basically, you come in, they have like a monthly you can buy, but you can also come in and pay like $5 a person or something like that. And they say $5, all you can game. They got all these board and card games.
Yep.
Oh,
All the
and you can
Euro
just sit
games,
there
yeah.
and play. You can stay there for hours and play or whatever. I used to go. There was one I used to go to called Luton XP, which is now closed. They closed, were reopened as a Common Space Game Cafe, but they do the same thing. But the nice thing about it is, one, they get role players pay half price because they bring their own stuff.
Okay.
And two, they have a liquor license. They have a beer and wine
Ooh.
license, which makes
Oh,
it
that's nice.
easier for us to patronize
Yes.
them. Because
Um,
we've this one Saturday game I used to be in. Every once in a while, we couldn't play at the guy's place because he was out or whatever. So all right, we'll just go to Luton XP, and they sit there with their beer and their whatever, and
right.
we play.
When I used to play with, oh God, what it was during a 5e playtest era. My God.
Uh-huh.
Lower Manhattan, games that can be not be named or whatever it was. It was a weekly thing. I played pretty often there, and they used different venues. Sometimes it would be like a random retail environment basement that was set up with tables. You could have 20 of us down there running different stuff. Sometimes it would be in an art gallery with tables set up. But usually, what the owners or patrons did is that they would set up a cooler with beer, and it was a donation. Wasn't because there's no
Wow.
license involved. It was a $4 donation or more if you wanted to patronize more for a beer, and I would buy 2
You pony
instead of
up, yeah.
collecting. But it was a nice way to deal with it and give back. And I think we also usually toss $5 into the pot. but it was fun. It was relaxing, and this stuff was, dare I say it, semi-private in a way, because everybody that's going there is putting money into a pot, into a till, and they are not. There's no customers around. They're all gamers, so you're not going to.
The night they raffle off the money.
Right. But you're not going to offend a parent. You're not going to have children hear something that's inappropriate. So the boundaries there were a little bit different than they were when we were playing in public at the game store, which were very different from when we were playing in private in the game store, in a room we only opened that door up. I think one day the AC wasn't working and it was like horribly, and we had to open it up. But otherwise, these situations are literally why
we used to play a long time ago, and when I was living in San Jose, we used to play at a pizza parlor. All those pizza parlors back then, they had a private room in the back. They usually always had a room for like meetings and whatever.
Right.
And if nobody was renting it or using it, they say, yeah, go ahead, go back there and we can make as much noise as we want. And it was kind of partitioned off, so we had something somewhat private, and it worked out great.
And that's, even at conventions, I think you can get away with a bit more at a convention than you will at a game store. Because again, the game store includes, I hope nobody gets offended by this, randos, right? It's just like somebody walking off the street going, "Oh, I used to play Magic the Gathering 25 years ago when it first came out. Look, it's still out there. I never knew that." And then they're going to come in and hear about your sex crawl. That is something that they aren't prepared for. At a gaming convention, I mean, you're probably more likely to have an idea. So now, again, going back to the Wenger situation, a bit more, unless he's bringing his own group with him, if he's looking to pick up random players, I don't know what the intention was or how he was running it. If you're going to pick up random players, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to offend people. No, even if you tell them, "Oh, it's a sex crawl." It's a X crawl. This guy has a lisp. All right, I didn't hear it right. It's like, whoa, what the? Bring your own group. But if you bring your own group, then why can't you play at somebody's location if necessary? Right. I don't know. It's here. Go ahead.
You brought up the lowest common denominator argument in your podcast, where you have to play to the lowest common. You don't have to play, but I mean you have to cater to the lowest common denominator. That doesn't mean your game that doesn't mean you have to dumb down your game. You just got to watch how you present it.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially listen. It's one thing if you're running the game you're running at 1:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday, right? And the game you're running at 7 p.m. on a Thursday, you could probably get away with more on that Thursday night game than you can when mom or dad is off and they're taking their kid to the game store. And that's something that people don't always
I've heard people had problems with people who came to a face-to-face game, say in a game store and stuff like that, who'd only played online, who'd only either done MMOs or they have done like Roll20.
Yeah.
And they think stuff flies that doesn't fly.
That's certainly part of it. I mean, listen, with my son's fiance, I blew my mind when I found out that she used to play D&D 5e on Roll20. And she didn't have the books. She had a PDF of the basic rules. I gave her my printed out copy of the basic rules. I was like, "Here, you can use this." But I mean, she understood the whole game. Now, what she had with her established group, I'm pretty sure. And here's the other thing, and I guess here I'm gonna bring out the elephant in the room, and this time I'm gonna beat the elephant with a stick. All right. we kind of touched on this, but we're going to touch on it a little bit further. If we're talking specifically child, right, the sex crawl, how many female gamers do you think that's going to attract? For those who possibly just listening at home, because you don't like my wonderful face for Glenn's, Glenn's response was 0, nilch, nada, kaput. So
it is a rare female who will put up with that kind of stuff.
right, and so right there and then for a public game to be run like that, you have other issues. Again, and I'll be honest with you, I know a lot of V's earlier work. I thought it was they were great. Once he started getting into the more blatantly, not saying sexual for pornography, saying sexual for, again, 1970s and 80s comedy. I grew out of that stuff when I was in the 1980s. Doesn't appeal to me. It's just, but it appeals to other people, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to appeal to people in a public place. There's again, I don't know.
You never know. Anyway.
But
anyway, that's some of our advice.
Yeah. Now here, I'm going to throw a little tidbit out for you. So apparently, Wenger sent out an email using the Drive-Thru RPG publisher email system with and it was funny. It was a joke that effectively said, "And now my wife has banned me from running games in my basement because my material is offensive." Funny as hell. I giggled when I saw it, and then I went, "Oh shit! I think this is actually probably a violation of the drive-through email rules and regs. I don't think you can do that." But neither here nor there. Now I'm looking at this, I'm going, "Holy shit! I thought I was doing a good job keeping up the comments, but no, I've fallen behind almost a full page." All right, I'm gonna try to keep down. Let's see. No, David, no haiku. I haven't done haiku since high school,
Same here.
and we probably don't want to. Yes, we don't know. Shadow, you're too sober to do haikus. But enough about the haikus. My God, when gamers get something funny, they beat it to shit. I swear to God. And by the way, now I'm looking at this, I'm like going, somebody's gonna be going, Tenkar, why do you dye your mustache and not the rest of your beard? I don't. It's just that my mustache comes in dark and my beard comes in like solid fucking gray.
I need a haircut. Anyway.
You want to, Shadow has something. You want to read it?
Let's see. Besides, we should think of ourselves as ambassadors or recruiters for this hobby, or we'll never be as great as it was in the old days. Exactly. Old days, 5e, whatever. We are representatives of the role-playing game community.
Yeah, and
right?
I think, and I think that we often forget that. I mean, there was a big thing for a number of years before COVID. Read a book in public. Do you remember that, Glenn? You were supposed to sit down and be on a park bench and read a book in public. And the whole idea was
read a game book in public. Yes. I've done that a couple of times. I thought don't they do that anymore?
I think with COVID, I haven't seen anybody doing that.
There's like a 1 week a year where they say go out there and sit on a park bench and read a game book.
Yeah. Matt, Joe the lawyer has not grown out of the 70s. Joe is certainly a child of the 70s. But hey, listen, the man has a minimal of common sense at the very least, because he refuses to put his image up on the channel because he's still actively working. And he might be a child of the 70s, but he understands the tech of the 2020s. And I believe that he has one of his nephews helping him work on his new YouTube channel. I don't think we have anything about the intro yet. The episode 0. I'm still waiting for more from him, but
This should be interesting.
it should be, because listen, I always say that this channel and all the live streams that we do, and this is public access. All right. If you were a kid growing up on cable in any area, public access, right? Uncle Floyd or whatever you had that would come out and do his zany talk show with, like
Wayne's World. Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. Yeah. That wasn't uncommon.
No.
The quality of those shows, if they were quality, was the excitement that the guests brought and the authenticity that the hosts showed and what they were doing. So we don't do this with great production quality. At least I don't. Glen's been editing his stuff for years, his podcast. My whole thing is, if I fuck something up, I just record it anew. That's how
I cannot get through a day without recording an episode of Radio Grognard. I just can't anymore.
Oh.
I have to. It's like, I got to get this done. Okay, now, all day it's like, I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it. And finally I do it. Okay, fine. I can get on with other stuff. It's just, it's a monkey on my back. No, it's not a monkey on my back. I mean, at times I've said to people on Facebook, hey, I'm taking a break, for a couple of days or something like that. But it can turn into obsession. But how do we get on this subject?
Oh, no. David Thompson, I ran Bushido for 20 years. Haiku was a regular thing in the game. David, I own Bushido only because one of the guys in my gaming group thought we needed more players and put up an advertisement at the Complete Strategist in Manhattan back when we had like those little cork boards. And he put like the index card up there, call for gaming. And this is back in the 80s, late 80s. And the guy joined the group. And the second session, he brought over Bushido, asking me to learn the rules to run it because he couldn't understand it. And then he never showed up for a third session. Gone in the wind. We never saw him again. And I inherited Bushido. And I'll tell you right now, I never learned how to run it. So God bless you for running for 20 years.
Oh, yeah. God bless you running something for 20 years. That's hard to do. A consistent group, that's hard to do. I mean, I got the regular Monday night group, but we bounce around on stuff. I'm thinking like one campaign, 20 years. That'd be really nice.
Matt Jackson, Joe is behind the power curve. We'll see episode 1 in April. April 1st, right? That's when we'll see Joe's. Well, Matt, he's got more time now because he was like, oh, no. It's not just going to be me and Eric on Fridays. It's got to be me, Eric, and Matt, and Rob, and Tim, and Jeff.
All these guys.
And Greg, all these guys. So it's going to be the randomly generated podcast or randomly generated party. But yes, it's fun. I love Joe. Joe is probably, I think, the first member of the OSR that I met online that I actually got to meet in person. And that was right away. We just clicked. Just like meeting Glen in person. Right away, we clicked. It's like, you have that connection, but then like, oh shit, yeah, no, that follows through. And I don't want to say it follows through from virtual to reality because this is a reality. Okay.
Did you know I've been going to North Texas for over 12 years, and I still struggle with names of regular people who go every year?
Dude, I did not know names for the longest time, and I'm gonna there are things that are humbling to you, and one of them was you know who Guppy is at North Texas, right? Okay, so Guppy, who's one of what they call one of the big fish. All right, Guppy always has money to be in the auctions.
First deep pockets.
Yes, he's got deep pockets. So I'm at Gary Con, my first Gary Con, and I'm hanging out with Bill Webb and Zach and Bad Mike and Guppy is there, and Guppy knows Zach and obviously knows Bill, and he knows Bad Mike because Bad Mike runs North Texas, and he turns to me and he goes, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm Tenkar." "Am I supposed to know you?" And I was like,
Only if you want to.
I guess maybe I don't. I don't know if it wasn't controversial enough. Then Guppy and I became pretty good friends actually, but it was funny because he had no clue who I was, and there's nothing that's more humbling in a small community like this when you realize that people just don't know who the fuck you are. You're like, ah. Geez.
Last year, I wanted to talk to Joyce Godsey, who goes there every year. I think it was last year. I spent the whole con trying to look for her because I don't remember what she looked like. And she said, "Well, I was there." It's like, sorry, I don't remember what you look like, and you don't put an avatar up of your face, and so But
like,
I will try again. I'll try again this year.
We have a question about Star Frontiers not genuine.
Go ahead.
Dawn. It's not up on Lulu anymore. However, my Lulu copy was printing, so I expect to get my Lulu copy. I would do an unboxing when I do. The PDF should still be up. If the PDF is not up, send me a message or send me an email, tenkars.tavern@gmail.com, and say, "Hey, I want that PDF." And I will make sure you get a copy of the PDF. And if you want to print it on your own, print it on your own. That's great. Something tells me, only because I listen, that we are not going to see a release of Star Frontiers New Genesis, Next Genesis at TSR Con, because they are no longer talking about a release. No, they're saying that you will see a copy at the con. You will see a copy. Doesn't mean that there's going to be release. And now the whole promise of players of Star Frontiers to get a copy of the game, I don't know if that's going to happen. So time will tell. Again, I'm waiting for that mail to come when I can open up the package and rip it open and go, Star Frontiers not genuine, and then do my my reaction to it. I think it'll be fun. Looks playable.
Do your Shatner.
Which way? Oh wait. The con or when, but back at the Twilight Zone when he's on the plane.
Look for, I think it's called The Angel of Death episode of Thriller with him in it.
Really?
And I mean, he's in it, and the woman who used to play Lovey on Gilligan's Island is in it.
Oh my God, Lovey.
And Shatner, I mean, he's the Shatneriest Shatner you're ever going to get.
Oh, okay.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
We have Ty Beard in the house. Oh my God.
See,
Ty didn't do a guppy with me when he first met me. He was just kind of like, nice to meet you. Bill Webb is taking me everywhere, and I am just following the trail. And I didn't get.
I'm turning into at the con. I'm turning into Tim Cast. Turn over your badge. What's your name?
There you go. You know what? In a way, conventions. Listen, I enjoyed being a cop, a sergeant in the NYPD, because we all wore fucking name tags. I didn't have to remember names because I got to see them every time I did a roll call, and I knew all my cops' names by reading them constantly. Only way I remember. I am horrible with names without that. So in a situation that wasn't uniformed, it really sucked. Can you define James?
OSR. What is the
OSR? It's not a set of rules.
If your books smell a certain way, it's OSR.
Like mold.
Yes.
No.
I mean, if they have that, what I call old game store smell, they're golden.
OSR, some people say it's the ability to roll out characters real quickly, but Rollmaster or Chartmaster, however you want to call it, was certainly
You
OSR.
bastard.
Yeah, that was certainly OSR. It's kind of
Yeah.
kind of like porn. You know it when you see it. If you are an OSR gamer, you know OSR when you see it. So I would say
Yeah.
games like Chill and Time Master, maybe they're OSR, they're oldish school, but they were the beginning of the new school. So I don't know.
Yeah. Champions.
Oh my god, dude! Don't start me on Champions. Buckets of dice, more so
That
than
was old school. That's old school
yeah.
superheroes right there. Which reminds me, I think I want to play with Jeff D this next convention. If he's running any more Buildings of Vigilantes.
Oh yeah, what's it called now though? Didn't he change it to
Mighty Protectors,
there we go.
aka V&V 3.0. And let me tell you, I got a copy of it. I've had a copy of V&V, but I got the Mighty Protectors one. I think it's a better game for it, the third edition. I think I understood it better.
I never
really
owned V&V, and I never understood it because I never owned it. But all right,
my Champions is near and dear to my heart, but my other favorite is Marvel Face Rip. So,
James, OSR seems to have as many meanings as the people who use the acronym. That's kind of the reason why I prefer old school gaming, because old school gaming I think it's also pretty much more where I stand because I didn't just run AD&D and second edition. I ran Rollmaster, I ran Space Master, I ran Traveler, I ran MERP. You had to run MERP.
You ran Rollmaster? Wow, you're a better man than I am.
I ran Space Master, but Space Master worked because I had a 2-person party. So it allowed people to get skills that kind of overlapped in a science fiction game.
Yeah.
I didn't need a large party. I ran Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I mean, I ran a lot of different games.
I've played in that.
I ran Space
First
Age.
edition.
I ran Sandman, the game that wanted you to win a $10,000 prize. Yeah,
there's no game there. But I liked. I lost. But you're a better man than I to run Rollmaster. I could not. Ugh.
The Ultimate Chapter is a horror at 37,000 feet. Yes, that the Twilight Zone episode.
Nightmare at 30,000 feet.
Ty likes your definition, by the way. If your book
thank you, Ty.
Yeah,
I walk into Woodard can back me up on this. One of the highlights of me going back to Long Beach to see my mother and my brother and sister was walking into the War House on Willow, because you just stood there and go, oh, that smells like a game store with walls full of minis on racks.
Smells like victory.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, and the racks that turn and everything. Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful store. Every time I think of an old game store, that's what I think of as the War House.
Yeah. David Thompson said OSR, no tieflings or blue-haired harpies.
That's right.
But didn't tieflings start in Planescape, and that was 2E, and that's technically still within the.
Woodard said the War House hasn't reopened since the owner.
I haven't got. I'm still catching up. Hold on a second, everybody.
Well, I'm just, I like that.
We're getting there. V&V was awesome. Yes, Shadow. I played Wild Die. I played one of Jeff's Mighty Protectors games a couple of years ago. Great fun. Jeff looks like he'd be a very good DM. I've never played any of his games.
He probably would be. He's involved in the entertainment industry, and anybody involved in the entertainment industry who also games is pretty damn good.
As Angel, you're right. You probably said this before I did. But yes, tieflings are old school. V&V is great because it's a complete game in a small number of pages, and the basic rules resemble OD&D. Easy to learn. John Miller.
Yes,
You know
it was. Yes, it was.
Matt Jackson says Marvel Phase Rip was the shit.
Yes.
You know what? I never owned it. I think I played in one. I didn't like the idea, and this is how my group played it, of playing established superheroes, because the reality was they weren't balanced against each other. And if I want to play Spider-Man and you're playing Thor, my Spider-Man's gonna suck shit. So I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
I regret I never got to play. I regret I never got to play the DC role-playing game. I mean, I think Marvel Face Rip is. I think Marvel Face Rip is more popular now than the other one. DC is because DC's hard to find.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I always wanted to run the Mayfair game, and then they also had Underground, which had the same
same engine.
Yeah.
Same rule set.
I kind of liked Underground too. I also liked, oh my god, what was it was the fake parody game Hole, HOL.
HOL. I used to have a copy of that.
I still do somewhere. I used to reread that every couple of years. I haven't reread it in like the last 15.
Yeah.
Oh wait, The Horror of 10,000 Feet was a TV movie in '73. Oh my god.
That's something different.
Ty, that's scaring me. Yes, Z-Wiki. OSR is kind of like pornography. I can't precisely define it, but I know it when I see it. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
See,
this is horrible. I'm so far behind.
Yeah, the owner of the Warehouse died about 6 months ago or something, and I guess they closed the place trying to figure out what they're going to do with it. And that's too bad, because that was like the last game store I could find in the Long Beach area. So, and no, I don't remember the book.
Greek to me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I barely understand what's on what we have in the New York metropolitan area. Chris, welcome. Glad to see you. James, I gave up on painting any of my minis. I still have to send Shadow a whole bunch.
I went to tokens.
I mean, if you're going to conventions, you can't bring minis with you, even if you're flying. Okay, yeah. Shatner, Chuck Connors, Buddy Ebsen, Russell Johnson, Professor on Gilligan's Island, Roy Times. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to find that movie. And yes, classic. Listen, I would cut class to roll characters for Traveler on the stairwell at my high school.
You probably had to.
Well, technically, it wasn't cut in class. We had book room where we delivered books, but the books only took 10 minutes to deliver, and then we had like 40 minutes for ourselves, and we just rolled Traveler characters because, come on.
I hated Traveler. I'm still not too fond of it, but I'll play it. Because it doesn't have anything to do with, your character dying in character creation, but I had a bad experience with Traveler. And it wasn't bad, it was just annoying. I used to belong to a game club back in San Jose.
Right.
And these guys, we had some guys who were Traveler junkies. You know the type.
Mm-hmm.
And they would spend all their time making starships and talking about making starships. I got so sick of hearing about starships. I never wanted to play that game.
Oh, no. Making starships, no fun. Rolling characters and seeing if they survived, always fun. And if you did that, at least you had NPCs you could use later. Angel of the Dawn has a question. Can Palladium be considered OSR? It's still being produced, barely, but the rules are ancient and have never really been updated. Glenn, you want to?
I think I call them OSR.
I do,
because
my first Palladium product was one of their I guess digest-sized adventures, and I thought it was for D&D, and then I was like, this system doesn't quite fit, but kind of almost sort of does. And I just kind of massaged it.
I consider GURPS old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah. I mean, GURPS. I had the original man. Not what were the rules?
Box.
No, man to man and Orc Slayer.
Oh
So
yeah.
before GURPS became GURPS as the combat system, I
I
had
still
that.
got my 2 books. I've still got my 2 books that are what, 4th edition or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, I've lost track. I mean, I have the Conan GURPS books, not
Ah,
just the GURPS source book, but the solo adventures. I played those solo adventures. It's the only way,
they
only
had GURP,
real cool solo adventures I've ever
they
played.
had GURP solo adventures.
Yes, for
Wow.
Conan. For Conan, I think it was 4 of them. I'll have to
Wow.
dig them out. They might be in storage. They might be stuff that went to storage when I got married. I don't know. I'm
Hey,
gonna have to.
by the way, speaking of not OSR games,
Mhm.
I've been looking. I'm getting ready to. I want to gear up to play some 3 Hyperborea,
Right.
and I'm always worried about what am I going to come up with? I don't want to run modules all the time. I want to come up with stuff. And I've been listening now on YouTube to John Allen Large. Big John Allen Large is the Red Dice Diaries. And he did a show on the, what's the name of that island? Who had the field guide to Hot Springs Island.
Oh God, that was a good setting.
And I looked at it and I go, I bought the set, the dark and the field guide,
Right.
$100. And I bought it in North Texas a few years ago. But I looked at it and I say, hand this to your players, let them finish it. I said, no, it costs $40. I'll print out the PDF and they can scribble in that. But he had a good idea. You could use it if I can get. I think I can rejig that for Hyperborea because he talked about how the corporation hands them that field guide of a different group that went there, and they're supposed to look for resources or whatever. Well, why don't you just do like you find the field, you're out tramping and you find the field guide, or even part of the field guide with some pages missing, where you got to go find the pages. And there's enough weird stuff in there that would probably fit in Hyperborea. I think that'd be a great thing
Do
to
it, man. I'd
do.
love to do that hack.
Yeah, that would be, and then just put Hot Springs Island out, out in the sea out there, and
Yeah.
eventually they'll get there. I think there'd be adventures just trying to find the rest of the pages of the book.
Yeah. No,
That would be fun.
Hot Springs was a really cool setting. It was a really
Oh
cool
yeah.
sandbox.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Commandant VHS. I use a bag full of multicolored pawns.
Thank you.
By the way, thank you for the support. But yeah, you know what? I didn't even use pogs or tokens until I picked up the original Pathfinder beginner box for Pathfinder. Now it's 1E. But the beginner box was probably the best non-OSR purchase I made in the decade between 2011 and 2020, honestly. Because you got so much stuff that even if you didn't use it for Pathfinder, you got so much stuff in that box. And it was the only version of Pathfinder that I could look at and go, I'd like to run this. It was almost Pathfinder OSR. And I was like, all right, I want the expert box now. Where's the next box building off of this box? Now, that being said, did I buy the Pathfinder second edition beginner box? I did. And I've never opened it up. I still sealed. I'm so bad. So bad.
Oh, you're so naughty.
I'm very naughty, but it looked like a good idea. And then I was like, it's not going to be what it was when I first opened up the first one.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. I got to catch up here. David Betzak, that would be a pretty neat Hyperborea campaign, Glenn. You know what, Glenn?
Thank you, Dave.
Dare I say it, and I'm not pushing Glenn into a corner here, by the way, but I think that if you wanted to, I don't know, if you wanted to run something on Roll20 once a month, I think that from the people in this live stream, you'd have yourself a very full
maybe
group.
But I won't be using Roll20.
Oh, you'd be using
Owlbear Rodeo.
Albert Rodeo.
And Discord for the voice.
Voice, yes. That's what we do. Listen, even using Roll20 with our Monday night group, we still use Discord for the voice because my experience with Roll20 voice and video is that it sucks. Second edition from Ty, second edition Triple and Sorcerer was about the same as first edition, cleaned up and typeset and readable font. I do have holy shit beat up fucking copy of Chivalry and Sorcery 1E that I got on eBay when I was dating my wife because I wanted to own Chivalry and Sorcery, and then I got it, and my response was, I didn't need to own Chivalry and Sorcery. You know.
Yes, I remember that adventure back in Gamma World.
Yeah, where they found a burnt copy of the actual rule book for
Gamma World. Yeah.
Yeah, what was that? What wasn't Legion of Gold, was it? Legion of Gold.
Could be. Might be found in Fargo. I don't know.
All right. Theater of the Mind. Minis are for wimps. Well,
that's why I use tokens.
Well, and listen, I don't know if Matt Jackson is still here, but the ongoing joke in our gaming group is that you got to wake up Tenkar and move his fucking mini or his token.
I've been there. I have been there.
So, because when I run games on Roll20, and I might even do this I'll check out Albert Rodeo. Might be a good solution for me too. But when I run games online, I point. I use Fog of War. And I really, generally, for the most part, if I need to know where you are, point out on the fucking screen where you are. Theater of the Mind with revealed map, Fog of War. Tokens restrict too much in my experience. Why, when I was a kid, teen, in my 20s, when I was running games face-to-face on a weekly basis, yes, we had minis for marching order. You know, maybe if there was some that shit, we'd have an idea.
You talk about waking up Tenkar. I've been known to fall asleep in the middle of a champions battle.
All those dice, I don't blame you. Holy fuck.
You'd think all that clatter would wake me up. Look, I love buckets of D6, so don't get me started on that.
Well, time before I was talking about tunnels and trolls, and I mean,
I do voices. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry,
but yeah, I see Cal saying I hear voices. TNT, I have from second edition on, with the exception of third edition, which looks to me to be it's about the same as second edition. I have second, fourth, multiple copies, fifth, multiple copies, 5.5 multiple copies.
You got the Corgi one.
I got the Corgi one. I got the Corgis. I have the orange box. Britain UK had a couple versions. It had an orange box. I have that. It had the oversized black box with the gold ink highlight. I have that. I have the Corgi rules. The tin that came out from Fire Dragon Press. The box set for Fire Dragon Press. The expansion from Fire Dragon Press. I don't have the not official, I think, 7th edition, but I have the 8th edition. I love my Tunnels and Trolls stuff, but I think it works better as a one-on-one type of gaming. Maybe two players and one DM. Large groups, it doesn't seem to work as well.
I've only got for now. I only got deluxe Tunnels and Trolls and maybe a couple of the modules. That's about it.
Well, Glenn, if you remind me, I will look. I will dig into my collection of 5.5 or 5th edition Flying Buffalo. There's no point for me collecting
no need.
Multiple printings of some of this shit.
Right. It's no need. That's okay.
You sure?
Yeah. I'm sure. I hardly ever play that anymore.
Oh, I don't either. I just enjoy going back to reading it. Like, oh, I want to look at that spell, poor baby. Oh, look at that spell that's never going to be used again in a modern game. Yes, I'm Asa, because holy shit, what was Ken thinking? But
What does Ken think? Well, he did the game, I guess.
yeah, you know,
Ken has his own little thing going, if you know what I mean.
Ken had. I'm not gonna say his own reality. Ken kind of is in his own space.
Well, he's also in Phoenix where they get a lot of sun. Maybe maybe too much sun. I don't know.
Maybe Matt
It's
Jackson,
hot
Eric Mini is always off screen. Matt, I want you to run a fucking game, and I'll make sure my mini is up your ass. All right, and it might be off screen, but you'll be able to find it each time. I'm sorry, did I say that?
there.
But no.
Oh boy, this
Now
is
see,
getting to
now
be
see,
interesting tonight.
no, because here's the thing, and just so folks understand it, Matt's a member of my regular gaming group, so this is kind of how we will act in the game session. Now, could you act like that in public?
No.
At a game session, probably, right? You risk offending the Karens, the mothers, the kids. But when you're within your own group, there's a whole different dynamic that you can get away with. So, just an observation.
Yeah, it's a good observation, but you can't really tell you to stick it where the sun don't shine in the public.
Well, no, but we can say that though to Matt, because
I remember that game, James Bond 007.
I do too. I never owned it, but that was an
I heard it
interesting game. I heard good sessions of it.
Yeah, Gangbusters. Yes. By the way, I talked to Mark. I texted Mark Hunt yesterday,
Right.
and I was the one who said this first. I said he wants to do a book of NPCs and other characters, and I said I got a title for you. He said what? He says Gangbusters BX Mobster Manual.
All right. So how can you?
If he doesn't call it,
go ahead.
Oh no! If he doesn't call it that, I'm going to be disappointed.
How do you have a monster manual for?
No, Mobster Manual. Mobster Manual.
How do you have a monster? Oh, a mobster man. Oh. All right. Sorry, Glenn. I'm slow on the uptake.
That's okay.
It's the reason why Rach married me. She's like,
tough crowd.
Good. Goes over your head. Boom. I should have had a V8. Mercenary Spies and Private Eye.
I got a copy of that somewhere.
I have the original. I also have the reissue from Kickstarter a few years ago. It's a fun little game, and again, because it is espionage, probably works best with a small group, 2 or 3 players. Because really,
you can do murder mysteries with that.
You can. It's a lot of. It's a fun game, and oh God, who wrote that? It wasn't Ken.
Oh, it was it was the novelist.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, somebody's going to put it up here. I know.
All right, well, I got to catch up then to get there.
No, they haven't put it up. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'll get it in about 10. I'll get it about 10 minutes after we get off. I'll get it. I'll probably remember 10 minutes after we're off the air.
Yeah, well, it isn't Costello, and it isn't John Ford. John Ford wrote the.
No, but I'm blanking out. I can see the name. I can vaguely see the name in my head. But yeah,
Stackpole.
Yes, Mike Stackpole.
Yeah. He was also.
See, I told you somebody.
Yeah, but he also was well known for writing solo adventures. I think I had a solo adventure for him from Mayfair Games. Yes, Michael A. Stackpole.
I'd like to play games. Well, come to North Texas RPG Con. I run one every year, sometimes 2.
So there you go. Like I said,
We had some really good gangbusters games at North Texas.
Pepperidge Farms remembered. Thank you, Cal.
That's the game where Gage played a boxer and wanted to fight a tiger.
Well,
should have let him and watch him die.
Well, you can't do that to your grandson, man. You can't do that. You got to be nicer, Glenn. You got to be nicer.
But that's the only time as GM I said, no, you cannot do that. But he's right there. I'm a boxer. I want to box him. No. It's one of the rare times I shut somebody down. What?
Well, that's why you should. James wants to know if there would be any interest in more City Books type of gaming aids. I think there'd be interest in weren't they maybe they weren't reissued. Maybe they
I used to have a full set. Now I only got a couple of them.
I think they were a bundle of holding a year or two ago.
Yeah.
What game do you all wish you owned but don't, or regret selling or getting rid of?
Well, I can say one, but I can't because I've still got it now. My copies of Call of Cthulhu was like the most sold games that I ever used, because anytime I needed a little money, we weren't playing, I'd sell the book. And then I'd buy it again later on. It was like a boomerang.
What game? I'm trying to think. Here's the thing. Most of my games, all right, here, I got rid of, did this. When my son's mother passed and I thought I was going to be getting custody, I wanted to go into his grandmother for reasons that had nothing to do with me and all to do with Chris deciding his grandmother needed a reason to live, because she tried to commit suicide twice after her daughter died. So what we did is I had to clean space quickly, and I got rid of my Encyclopedia Magica collection.
I still have mine. I won't let go of that. I will not let go.
So that was, get rid of that. Got rid of the chill hardback, that kind of.
See, a lot of them I got rid of, and then I, later on in my life, I got most of them back. Like I sold my Auroras, and now I got 2 copies of it. Aurora's Whole Realms catalog.
Oh my God, I have that somewhere. I had it.
I got back a lot of my Volos guides.
Okay. Yeah, those guys were fun. They were good value for the money.
They were.
They were printed on shitty paper, digest size or over digest size, but they were trade paper. Yeah, but they were.
I think Aurora's was printed on newsprint or something.
Yeah, but it was still, value for your dollar was awesome. Original Empire of the Petal Throne. I'm going to make people cry. I bought that for the first time on eBay. God, 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
How much?
And got it sealed, original wrap, 85 plus shipping. The box was partially crushed. The wrap was original wrap. One corner was torn, and that stayed in the original wrap for about all of 30 seconds before I unwrapped it. And
what's the most? Is that the most expensive game you ever bought?
Most expensive game I ever bought. I'm not sure if it's one of my 2 white boxes.
Whether new or on secondary market.
I bought 2 white boxes on secondary market, both OCEs, original classic edition.
I bought. Oh, go ahead.
No, but I think the most expensive is probably Ken St. Andre's second edition play copy from his own collection, signed by Ken. That was probably the most I spent on anything for one book.
The most I ever spent before like Bill Webb got a hold of my wallet every year, and I started putting down like outrageous amounts of money for the Frog God stuff.
Right.
Before that, my most expensive one was on eBay. I paid $100 for the 30th anniversary Call of Cthulhu in the really nice, cover with the gold, with the embossing and everything on it. And I did that for one reason, because I heard Sandy Peterson was going to be at North Texas, and I got him to sign it.
Nice.
So I have it signed. I have an old 5th edition copy he signed too. And I found out the other day, I still have a lot of my Splat books from 2nd edition, including the campaign source book and catacomb guide signed by Janelle before she stopped signing them Paul. In fact, she was still Paul when she signed it. So
all right, fair enough.
It's like, that's money right there. I like getting stuff. I like getting stuff signed. I saw my 1st edition Hyperborea game, which I sold to Half Price Books. Jeff Talanian, I don't mean anything by that. It's just I got orders from the boss to cull my collection.
Cull your collection, dude.
And so I sold it to Half Price Books. I saw it up behind the counter the other day for $150 because it was signed by Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris Chance saying not a whole system, but these demigods with the Cthulhu Melnibone mythos. I never.
Yes, I got it. I have it. 1st edition.
I never had that. The best I had for years was a photocopy of those sections that a friend of mine in high school made a copy of and passed it on to me. But a couple of years ago at North Texas, they were auctioning off a beater copy of that. It was the silent auction. But here's the thing. It was signed by every artist that was in the book that was at the con. So it has 7 artist signatures in it. So
was it a first printing?
Cthulhu Melnibone, yeah.
Okay, I've also got it signed by most of the people who worked on it who were at the con.
Yeah, it's a beater copy now. Good.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, how much I paid for it? $5.95 at Half Price Books.
Oh wow!
Half Price Books back when they used to be a great place to get game books.
When they didn't know any better.
Yeah, exactly. I got a copy of Holmes for $3.95. So yeah.
Chris, the wooden box, the reprint, I'm guessing, of the I don't know if you mean the wood grain box, the original wood grain box, or the reprint of the original box in wood. That was one of those situations where I ordered it from 2 different companies, Amazon and Buy.com at the time. And I wound up getting 2 copies, and I was kind of pissed initially. But then when I saw the prices over the years go up for it, I'm actually kind of happy I have 2 copies of that. It's very collectible. Who would have thought?
Yeah. I still have I bought 3 sets over the years of 1st edition AD&D. My first 2 sets were Orange Spine, but I wanted the originals. So a few years ago, I went to David Donahoe, and he sold me all 3 of them for $40.
Oh, that's good.
And I swear I thought Eric Tenkar owned it because page 75 on the DMG was very, very. It had a lot of marks on it. It had a lot of wear on it. Let me put it that way.
That's like mine, man. Mine has that. Shadow, I love autographs. Hint, Eric. I know. Listen, my player's handbook. When you graduated high school, you had your autograph book, or you had your yearbook, and everybody autographed it.
Right.
I've decided over the years to turn my player's handbook into my autograph book. I take it to convention, and I get people to sign it. And you sign it.
You've had me sign it.
Of course, because Glenn, you're important, man. Wild Die says he is sure he signed.
Yes, he did. I've still got his Flash Gordon Savage Worlds book sitting up there with he was so I don't know. Well, he's a fellow Southern Californian. So yes, of course he's that nice. Thank you again, Mr. Woodard.
Wild Eye, by the way, I think I sent you a message, a PM on Discord. I need some info from you because George over at Emperor's Choice would like to get in contact with you. Never a bad thing.
Oh, yeah. You
Never
are
a
going to be
bad
surprised, sir. You are going to be surprised.
Totally off topic from James. How do you get the highest and best price for Magic the Gathering Box Edition? I don't know. I had beta cards back in the day. I bought Magic. I never played it, never understood it. I had beta cards. I had ones that later on were like, removed from play because they were imbalancing. So I probably invested about 75, maybe $100 in Magic the Gathering. This is going back to like the mid 90s, like 95, 96. I sold individual cards from the beta collection for about 1,500, and then the rest of my collection apparently went through the wash. I guess they weren't worth a lot anyway, but I made my money back and then some, so I can't complain.
I had 2 sets of cards, and I had 2 sets of cards, big sets, and I gave them away.
You gave them away?
Yeah. I got out of it, and then I married with a stepdaughter, and she wanted to learn, so I got back into it. And after I broke up with her mother, I got rid of them. So, I'm just a softy at heart.
We're all softies at heart, dude. We're all softies at heart.
True.
James, own a store and sell your cards there. Otherwise, some middleman will get the best profit margin. That's honest to God. Again, I knew I was selling cards, and if they were offering me 100, they were going to sell it for 250. And again, this is going back to 96, 99. I think it was before I was a cop, or right around that time. So, yeah.
Oh, one more thing about the Warhouse. Mr. Woodard just sent me the in memoriam for the guy who owned it, and thank you very much. That is really nice.
I gotta say, holy crap!
You are okay with me.
Okay, folks. Again, we've had Glenn, I don't know how to say this, man, but we have an extremely active and rambunctious live stream audience. I mean, this is really what makes these live streams work as well as
this is almost like Thaco's Hammer. We have a small but vicious audience.
But I mean, we'll get a number of views after this. But I mean, we have a live stream. We've been going now for almost 2 hours. We're down to 13, but we hit over 20 at one point. And
we did.
For a Friday night, admittedly, we know the audience for this channel, and it's mostly middle-aged men. So maybe we're not going out. I understand.
Thank you for calling me middle-aged. I appreciate it.
Glenn, I'm about to age.
Becky says I'm old. Okay, she says I'm an old man. So
you're an old man.
That's stepping up. I like
Shadow. Thank you. We wouldn't miss having you for the world. So that
yes. Friday night, none of us have lives.
I mean, listen. Here, let's put this in perspective. I do live streams on Wednesday nights. It's a Wednesday. Okay. I do a Discord hangout at 9 p.m. on Thursdays for about 2 hours.
He does. I'm there once in a while.
Yep. I do this with Glenn and, the bunch
Every
of
2 weeks.
Yeah. And then the other weeks on Fridays, I do it with Joe the Lawyer and a bunch of the other guys from our gaming group. And then Saturdays, I do it at 8 p.m. with my wife, Rach. We do Gamers Health. So you gotta go Friday night, Saturday night. Well, Saturday night, admittedly, we've had times where we've gone down to our local pub and done karaoke afterwards. So it's not like we don't do anything on a Saturday. but sometimes, it's like, Auto and Stream was great. Thank you, James. We had a great time doing it. We
I
will
heard.
have them back. As I said earlier in the stream, I hung out with the two of them from Ardoin for like another hour afterwards, just catching up. So they are really great people, and Rich and I have an invite to go up to Buffalo this summer. So balance. I was thinking about going to Wisconsin, maybe checking out VentureCon, but I can only do one huge road trip this summer. And if I do a huge road trip, Rach has reasons to go to Buffalo. She doesn't have reasons to go to Wisconsin. So
I'm still hoping someday I'll be getting in the Poconos with you guys.
you will. We'll make it
I'm
happen.
hoping.
We'll make it happen, Glenn, and then we'll do a live. We'll do a live stream from my back.
Well, I was talking about, we usually go west during the summer, any kind of vacation like New Mexico, California, all this. I said, let's go east this time. I want to see what's, go to Smoky Mountains or the Poconos or let's go look at historical places like Mount Vernon and stuff, where they do their reenactments and such. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, like my mother and my sister did Gettysburg like 20 years ago. I've never been to Gettysburg. Yeah, they had a great time. I've never been to it.
I watched this guy called Townsend and Company on YouTube, and he does recreations with food and other stuff. They built a cabin, but he did a few shows from Mount Vernon, and it looked really neat. I'd like to visit there. Often working on set. You and I need to get together if I ever get my butt back to California. We really do need to get together, Mr. Woodard. I'd love
Middle age has me living in a biblical age. Yeah, well, hey, what was old age is now still middle age, right? Middle age probably.
You're just listening to the jawbone of an ass. So
the jawbone of an ass. Thank you, Glenn. Shadow, thank you. Again, listen. There's always more updates on Gamers Health. Every time stuff to talk about. This is Gamers Health is where Tenkar and wife, we reveal a lot of shit that doesn't really fit the other live streams or the other stuff. So, and I think it's relevant because nobody grows old, or nobody should grow old by themselves, right? Nobody should feel they are alone.
Yeah.
And
I don't.
What is it, Glenn?
No. I said this show's too healthy for me.
Well, listen, actually, Glenn, you've lost a lot of weight, man. You're looking good.
I did, but there's been a price.
There's always a price, right? The devil always requires a price. James Seymour, too young to retire. Still need the insurance. Was not smart enough to join military when I was young and studly. Dude, I know.
I couldn't get
civil servant, and me being a civil servant and doing my 20 didn't just give my wife, just give me lifetime health insurance. It gave my wife lifetime health insurance. So
I always wanted to work at the post office, but I never got the chance.
Would you believe that was the hardest civil service exam I ever took?
Oh yeah, I've taken them. Yeah, and I'm always I'm always on a list. Last time I did it, it says, okay, we got the top 10 candidates, and you were number 11.
Oh shit. That sucks.
Unbelievable. Anyway, I can still game, so I'm happy.
That's all that matters, right? I mean, gaming is where it's at.
Gaming and watching movies, yeah.
Gaming keeps you young.
Young.
It's what's up here. It's what's in your head. It's how you feel. I might be going gray. The beard certainly shows it too. Oh my god. But it doesn't mean that I am old in my heart. Okay, I still feel like a young man until I see a sexy young woman, and then I realize, oh shit, I'm a dirty old man. But hey, that comes with the cost of getting old.
Comes with the territory.
Yeah. I'll expect that.
Well, I think we ought to wrap her up. Aren't you out of wine or something?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, getting there. All right.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I thank you. Remember, we're getting close to 1,250 subscribers, which means more giveaways on the live streams. All the live streams will have a giveaway. Total of $250 in drive-through RPG gift certificates. There we go.
Yeah, gift certificates, and on this show we're also giving away Mike Battlotto's G-string from the con.
Oh, Jesus, that wasn't Mike though. That was his brother.
That's
Mike doesn't
not Mike.
He doesn't wear G strings. I know. I shared a room with him at Gen-Con.
Thank you, Mr. Woodard.
No, the Love Shack is not where it's at. Thank you, though. Folks, as always, we're in the midst of the world of COVID. You might not know it if you live in like New York City, where actually removing restrictions. No mask requirement in public schools as of, I think, Monday. Holy crap.
Wow.
No more in retail environments. As of Monday, no longer a vax mandate. I will say this, all right? I've had COVID. I'm vaxxed. Glen's vaxxed. I'll make one suggestion. All right. I hope it's not a hard one. Use your common sense. You know, common sense is all I ask. Other than that, be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice, and God willing, I'll be back again tomorrow night with my wife.
Good night, folks.
For Gamers Health, thank you so much.
Thank you, Hammer.